gonna backtrack. And you should've kept my name out your mouth. That's me though, how it all turned out. When you try to use my name for clout, keep on going, give you something you could talk about. Welcome into my world, you're playing my game. Thought that you could come up and they're fitting off of my name. Talking out the side of your neck like you're insane. Cortisol levels to the roof, inflame. Kids these days so shameless, selling out real friends for a paycheck. Mama didn't teach them no home training. Wanna be me so bad, but they failing. Step to the plate though, I'll take a challenger. I ain't scared of no low life scavenger. I should warn you though. I know Colleen Ukulele Ballinger. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are here a bit earlier than we have been. Yeah, what's going on today? We have the supposed alleged last day of Diddy's jury selection process. I do have the outside the courtroom up. It is a dreary day. It is a dreary day over there in Manhattan, Southern District of New York. I'm in Princeton, New Jersey, which isn't extremely far. It's kind of dreary over here too, girl. This is what it looks like outside the courthouse. And we, of course, will be following Inner City Press. Let me pull this up. I have been dealing with some AstroTurf bots this morning, spreading disinformation about me on Twitter. Yes, I have. That's okay. We'll be taking legal action soon, I think. Okay, so here is Inner City Press. It doesn't look like he is tweeting quite yet. So this was all supposed to start off like 4 minutes ago. They're supposedly in court right now. Now Diddy and his lawyers did ask the judge for permission to come to the courthouse early so that they could meet with Diddy. I think they may have done that today. Do I need a light on? I guess so. So Diddy, I think he has been up at the courthouse pretty much all morning, the last couple hours. At least that seemed to be what the plan was going to be. How many people are in here? 272. Good morning, good morning, good morning. No, don't fight anybody. CMT said she's going to go find people and fight them during the breaks. Please don't do that for many reasons. Primarily, if you do that, they're going to blame me for it. Okay, so I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't fight anybody. If anything, just report for violating terms of service, for being bots or lying, or bullying or whatever. Good morning, Monica. How irritating. I know, it is so irritating. And some of them, Darcy, are not bots. Some of them are grown men that weigh at least close to 300 pounds and are enormous and pretend to be, quote, afraid of me, which is not even good at pretending, because what's going on is these people have been harming me. They have been harming me for years. This particular man followed me around. In my opinion, looked like stalking. And then when I started to speak out about it and about him, that's whenever this more deranged behavior began. This person does seem to really need mental help or an exorcism. I actually think he needs an exorcism. He says that he's a demon in his own profile. Not Inner City Press. He's an angel. He is an angel. I'm talking about somebody else. Okay. I'm not even sure that person's a human. Okay, here we go. Diddy drum roll. Here we go. First tweet of the day. Diddy docket drum roll just before U.S. versus Sean Combs final jury selection. TV cameras under big umbrellas in front of Southern District of New York courthouse. Inner City Press will live tweet the jury selection, and starting Monday, the trial. Okay, so again, I just have to say this every single time. We could not do this work that we are doing, reading these tweets to y'all. I certainly could not, if it were not for Inner City Press, Matthew Russell Lee. He is an angel on earth. He is, goes in person each and every day to these trials. And he's not only covering Diddy, he has a lot of different trials that he covers, primarily seemingly in the Southern District of New York, but he is in and out of there all of the time. So if you are so inclined, he has a couple books out on the Diddy trial already. Are they announcing the jurors today? Yes. However, I don't think that we, the public, are going to know the name identities of these jurors. Certainly not yet. I think they're keeping it anonymous, like juror numbers as of right now. Yes, amen. Empath's Rhapsody is praying to the Lord in the name of Jesus. There it is. Best and right. Yep. God's favorites out here. I did jury duty all of last week. Too bad I missed this one. Hey, Bean girl. Hello, Victoria. Y'all are saying that the feds got something. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? Are they sequestered? No, Holly, they're not. They are not sequestered. It looks like Inner City Press took that picture from like upstairs. It's interesting. I don't think it's really started yet, but as we know, hold on. I'm turning up my air purifier. As we know, the judge usually doesn't get into the courtroom until about 10 to 20 minutes after the actual start time. So today's live may be a little bit slow. We may have to wait for a few things here and there. However, I do think that once this day gets started, it's going to fly. I think that the peremptory challenges are going to go a lot faster than the jury like questionnaire and the strikes for cause. I think those were, going slower. I think one of the reasons is because there had to be kind of like arguments made about each one. And at the same time, the jurors were questioned in a sequestered way. So they were called in one by one. And then when they would get in, they would sit, they'd have to be, talk to the judge, they'd talk to the, people, and they would have to leave out. So this was a process that took quite a while. However, I mean, not that much of a while, because the Young Thug jury selection for their trial, I think it took like 10 months. And people were expecting some similar things to happen here because there's some similar lawyer overlap. We have Brian Steele, Nicole Westmoreland, they were in the Young Thug trial. And so people were like, okay, well, if it took 10 months for Young Thug, this is going to definitely take like longer than just 3 days. But that did not end up happening. Now, one of the reasons, I did look into it just briefly, one of the reasons the Young Thug trial took, or the jury selection process in that trial took so long, had to do with the number of defendants. And here, there's just one defendant, which does have me and a few of y'all a little bit confused. Because it's like, how is it a RICO? Like, isn't RICO like organized crime, like racketeering, hierarchical? There's co-conspirators, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, where are the other defendants in this case? You mean to tell me you don't have one single co-defendant? You mean to tell me that Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs was the mastermind behind the whole entire everything? Like, that's where they're starting to lose me a little bit. Like, they don't have one co-defendant, not one yet. I don't know. People in the comments, people in the live chat right now are saying that feds are about to drop another indictment. Suburbia Jones Effect said, do I believe that the prosecutor released the Cassie video to taint the jury pool? Well, first of all, I'm not sure who dropped that Cassie video. Now, I do know that Diddy's lawyers have alleged that it was the feds. That being said, there is no proof that it was the feds. So first of all, I would need it to be proven that the feds are the ones that dropped it, the prosecutor. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. It's so hard to tell these days. So, I mean, really, the short answer is I really don't know. I don't really think so. That's not like the first thing that came to my mind, but do I know? No, I don't know. Yanni said, that's what I've been saying. Why aren't there more people charged? There's more to come, Plotter said. There is more to come. Okay, I mean, I hope so. Where's the partners? Diddy's the whole RICO? Yeah. Helena said they have his enterprise, and co-conspirators could turn into witnesses. I mean, I hope. I hope that they know what they're doing. Because the last thing that I want to happen is to see like a progeny of these cases that are not done like, fully up to par. And then it just looks like any and everybody that is accusing a rich man of something in the future is lying. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, hey, shout out to Kadisha Lynn. She has some good videos, y'all. She does really, really good, like short to the point, concise videos. If y'all are not following her, she does a lot of pop culture coverage, definitely Diddy. She says, it seems to me a lot are flipping based on the docket, which is why we heard the judge talk about immunity for cooperators. Talked about in jury selection. Okay, I see how you're piecing those things together. I could see that being a strong argument. Let's see if any tweets have started. It is 9:13 at the time, local time. Yeah, okay, here's a video. Okay, we got a video from Inner City Press. Let's see what he's saying.
May 9th, 2025, and we're heading to the Diddy Sean Combs jury selection.
I'm sorry, y'all. Protect this man at all costs. I love him. Look at him out here with his umbrella. He is so cool.
Covered the 3 days as the pool was whittled down to 45. But today, in a few short moments, there will be the strikes will be exercised, peremptory strikes, to bring it down to 12 jurors and 6 alternates. Now, we focused in on one particular juror who was a UN official who it seems to me clear that they lied to try to get onto the jury, saying that the UN Office of Counterterrorism never deals with U.S. law enforcement at all.
I will let y'all know about Matthew Russell Lee. He has beef with the United Nations. Okay. He has beef with the organization, the UN. They banned him some years ago. They banned him from being able to cover some of this stuff like in person. I don't know all the details, but it does seem egregious. And when he tweets about it, I retweet it. But he's like, okay, what's up with this UN guy lying, trying to get on the jury pool? Because he's out here acting like the only contact he ever had with the the international law enforcement was one conference one time. No, we don't have this UN person on. I would strike that person immediately. Do not want somebody from the UN, a UN official on my jury. No, thank you. But listen again.
We focused in on one particular juror who was a UN official who it seems to me clear that he lied to try to get onto the jury, saying that the UN Office of Counterterrorism never deals with U.S. law enforcement at all. If so, it's just another mark of the UN's irrelevance. But having been inside the building and covered it closely as a resident UN correspondent until made the mistake of reporting on the finances of the big boss, Tony Gutierrez, I can tell you that they do work with U.S. law enforcement and that the jurors' answers were false. But that's only one. There still hasn't been a ruling on the HBO staffer, and we're going to be reporting in the brief.
Really? I thought they got rid of the HBO staffer. That's interesting.
Yeah. And, of course, the trial that begins Monday. In other sex trafficking news, the Alexander brothers, the 3 real estate guys.
Oh, I'm interested in this.
Really nasty case.
Nasty.
They were hit with a superseding indictment. They're also in the MDC, so it's tough. It's tough over there. Got a lot of guys over there.
The MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center. I mean, that's where Jeffrey Epstein was found, no longer alive or whatever. That's where he was being held. That's where Luigi Mangione is. Sam Bankman-Fried, Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs. Who else? A lot of people are in there. The Alexander brothers. Thanks so much, Lindsay, for the $10 super chat. I really appreciate that. Thanks so much for doing this. Lindsay says, I work from home in the healthcare industry. I love to listen to you while I work. Well, girl, we're going to have a long 2 months. So just come on in. Someone said Cassie is due May 15th. Oh, my Lord. They better get her on the stand soon. Oh, my gosh. Phoenix is saying she's going to feel like she wants to pop. Super pregnant means her. Oh, girl. R. Kelly. Tequila said R. Kelly was at the MDC as well. Okay, well, let's see if Matthew Russell Lee Inner City Press has started to tweet the trial yet. The jury selection yet. Although this does count as trial. This is a part of trial, and then has, officially trial has started. Now, I don't know what's going on inside the courtroom right now. We do have this view from outside the courthouse. This is what it looks like. We're facing the street. In-person questioning of prospective jurors is expected to conclude. I think that the in-person questioning has already mostly happened. Somebody with more trial knowledge than me, let me know. Is it explicitly, are they allowed? Shout out to Ari watching from Japan. So happy. That is so cool. Shout out to Japan. Opening statements, Phoenix, are expected on Monday. So technically speaking, it's like opening statements because you're not really supposed to make arguments, but and then closing arguments. But yes, opening arguments, opening statements, they are on Monday, allegedly, supposedly. Now, I kind of predicted there might be a slight possible snafu that could possibly hold up the trial or the opening statement starting on Monday. And that is if today a bunch of these jurors, prospective jurors, just didn't show up. The prosecutors, as well as the defense attorneys, Diddy's attorneys, did expect that. They expected people to get, quote, cold feet. Also, the judge claimed to also sort of, that's okay, Phoenix. I've probably also called it opening arguments too. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't really matter. People call it that. It doesn't matter. Just letting y'all know. So, yeah, this is supposedly, this is trial already. Now, if there's 45 people in this jury pool. If you're just joining, hi, hello, make sure to hit that like button on the way in. We're waiting for the live tweets to start inside of the courtroom. I think it's courtroom 26B. We did have a video put up 10 minutes ago by Matthew Russell Lee of Inner City Press, and he's the one that's going to be inside the courtroom. He's the one whose tweets we are live reading all the time whenever I'm doing these videos. So he hasn't started tweeting officially yet. I'm just recapping what, I remember happening and things like that. This is what it looks like outside of the courtroom. Thanks so much, Brianna. BJ, you're amazing. I'm a new subscriber, binging you for the past week, literally 10 plus hours a day. Oh my God. I have a lot to watch, so there is enough. Thank you so much. Proudly. Anyway, this is the first live I caught, and I'm way too excited for this at 8 a.m. Shout out to you, Brianna, and thank you. Thank you for the $10 super chat and for the kind words. Tara, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. If y'all are so inclined, the legal fund to my legal defense against the lunatic freaks, it's linked below. All 100% of the proceeds from that legal fund that's linked below, it says legal fund, there's a link. Those go to lawyer fees, except for the 1% or whatever that GoFundMe takes out. It goes straight to lawyer fees. It's not even hooked up to my own bank account. So y'all can donate if you are so inclined. I appreciate the recap. Your commentary makes me chuckle often and helps the workday go by quicker. Shout out to you. Put a www or something in the chat. Put W in the chat if you are working or you listen from work. So we are just waiting. We are just waiting for Inner City Press to start his tweeting. Now, 18 seconds ago, he started the thread. I do get very excited. I am very excited this is finally happening. We've been looking forward to this at the That Surprise Witness BJ Investigates headquarter mothership studios since at least a year ago, whenever a year and 2 months. Excuse me. No, it was September that he actually got indicted. So, I mean, I don't know. I've kind of waited for Diddy to be in trial for a year. I mean, it's been over a year. It's about a year and a half since Cassie filed her lawsuit against Diddy, which did, in my opinion, for all appearances, it did appear to kick off the reckoning against Sean P. Puff Daddy Combs. Was the Cassie lawsuit December 2023. And then just a couple months later, February 2024, Lil Rod Jones came out, filed his lawsuit as a producer who worked on one of Diddy's albums, claiming SA, naming Robin Greenhill from TriStar Sports and Entertainment, which is Lou Taylor's company. Lil Rod Jones was saying Robin Greenhill was the one responsible for paying S workers, including Daphne Joy. These, of course, are all allegations until proven, but these are things that did happen. So now we are finally here. We are finally on the supposed last day of jury selection, and just started the tweet thread. He says, "Okay, Now, United States versus Sean Combs. Final jury selection, peremptory challenges. Inner City Press is covering the case. So, Diddy gets to exercise, I think I read 10. That's what I read. It was 10 peremptory challenges, whereas the government gets to exercise 6 peremptory challenges. Now, what's a peremptory challenge? You might be wondering. It's where you get to just get rid of a juror because you don't like them, basically. I mean, there's certain reasons you cannot exclude a juror. Like, for example, based on race or gender, something like that. You can't say, oh, I don't want, X color, people on the jury. I don't want X nationality people, origin people on the jury. You can't say stuff like that, but it's like you don't like really have to explain yourself as to why you're getting rid of jurors. You can just kind of like, sort of be like, oh, it's, because whatever. Now I do want to let y'all know I have a call scheduled next week with one of my professors, and he's an expert. He's a professor at a law school on this stuff, the procedure of this stuff. So hopefully next week, maybe the week after, we will have a real expert on here for a segment where this expert can answer, my former teacher can answer some questions. Okay, 1 minute ago, the judge came in. It is 9:23. So the judge came in about 9:20 to 9:22 a.m. And all rise, Judge Subramanian. Oh my Lord, y'all, we already got some drama. Get your notebooks out. The Fed's assistant U.S. attorney, she says juror 295 should be excluded based on her email to the jury office. Personal safety. Judge said she's out. What? Hold on. We got to go back and figure out who is juror 295, which I can do, thankfully, because Inner City Press has kept such meticulous record throughout. Yes, shout out to you. Juror 295, if anybody remembers offhand who that is. Let's see. I do have an Excel spreadsheet. Maybe I have her listed here. Nope. She emailed the jury office about personal safety. There's been a lot of gossip, I'll say, and rumors going around about the safety of witnesses and how, witnesses, yes, but the safety of jurors. And on the first day, whenever the jurors, 2 jurors not show up, prospective jurors not show up, it was for a good reason. It was because they were told not to, because they were out of the jury pool. However, people were speculating before we knew why those jurors were not included. People were speculating maybe something happened to those jurors. Like, this is what Diddy does. Now, I'm not saying that. I'm saying what people were speculating. What is this personal safety thing going on? Somebody called the jury office and was like, I can't be on the jury. Something about personal safety is very strange. I don't know what that is. Okay, then the judge said, fine, whatever, she's out. And then the feds bring up another prospective juror, juror 146. This person apparently allegedly has a lawsuit against the city. So I'm looking at my spreadsheet here, and I do have juror 146 here. And this person said they had no yes answers on the questionnaire, but apparently they lied. Apparently, I mean, I guess according to this one line on the tweet, juror 146 had sued the city, has a lawsuit against the city, and it's undisclosed. Remember on the questionnaire, remember when we were looking at the tweets on the first 3 days of jury selection, that people would come in and they would say, like, I have a lawsuit against my landlord, or I have a lawsuit against my whatever former boss. Like, they were telling about all the lawsuits they've been in. Do you have any connection or relation to cops, SDNY, et cetera, et cetera? Remember the one guy, he was like a worker at the Metropolitan Detention Center, and he was like, okay, well, I work at the MDC, so I probably shouldn't be on the jury. He got dismissed. All right, we got 2 more tweets. Magnifilo comes up and says, okay, what about juror 131 who worked at legal aid? Interesting. Interesting. Ooh, y'all, we might be in for a treat here. This is already the first 3 tweets and this stuff is just flying off. Okay. So there was a lady who also said she never received any legal training. Come to find out, this lady works currently at a nonprofit for women called Her Justice, and it provides legal aid to women. But before that, she worked at Legal Aid, something to do with like for the city or something, maybe. But the question was, have you ever received any legal training? And Diddy's lawyer, Teeny, not Agnifilo, Teeny Garagos, was like, I worked at Legal Aid and I can tell you she probably did get legal training. She's lying, Your Honor. This is all juror, number 131. So Combs' lawyer, Diddy's lawyer, Agnifilo, is like, excuse me, Your Honor, can we get rid of that lady? She had legal training. But remember, whenever that all happened in court that day, the judge told Diddy's lawyers, he said, I think maybe the defense just doesn't like this juror being, I don't think maybe the defense just doesn't like that this juror works at Legal Aid. And so the judge already said, no, we're not getting rid of 131. This is the person who used to work at Legal Aid. She currently works at Her Justice. The judge said, no, Agnifilo, pipe down. Pipe down. 146, yes, is out, because they sued the city and didn't tell. This is different. She's still in. The judge says, I propose we bring in, so here's the judge. Judge says, I propose we bring in on Monday the 12, the 6 alternates, and 3 remaining. Or should we do the strikes on Monday? The judge says, because we're doing this live right now because it is the day for peremptory strikes. The judge was ready to do these peremptory strikes Wednesday. The judge actually pushed Agnifilo and also the feds. Can we just get this picked today so we have our jury set on Wednesday? That's what was scheduled. That's what the judge wanted. But both sides were kind of like, can we just come in as early as possible on Friday and we'll do it on Friday? That's today. That's where we are right now. The judge said, fine. Schedules it for 9 o'clock. Now the judge is saying, do you want to not do it today? Do you want to push it off even more? You want to do it Monday? The feds, the prosecution says, no, we want to start our case on Monday. We oppose doing peremptory strikes on Monday. We want to start the case then. Let us talk. Let us do a little conference. Let's confer, do a little conference. The judge said, fine, take 5 minutes. So this was probably close to 5 minutes ago now. And here's Agnifilo. Wait. You're saying all strikes on Monday? Judge says, you proposed Monday, so they would be in the courthouse. Let's see if there's any more tweets. We might not even get the peremptory strikes today. That's like they got to put supposedly down there in the little scrolly bar. Okay. We got another tweet. Agnifilo said, yeah, I think that's right. Like juror 295 decided she didn't want to be on the case. We already lost 1 juror in the last 2 days. So yeah, let's do it on Monday. It could be 10 or 15 minutes. So bring them in Monday. See if we lose someone. So they're doing it again. Y'all, I think they're not going to be doing. Wow. Okay. So that's the most recent tweet. You're looking at it right here. It looks like it's not going to happen today either, y'all. Oh my God. Uh-huh. So remember how there was 45 people in the pool? Now there's only 42. Okay. All right. So it's a problem. It's an issue. People quitting, people dropping out, people getting cold feet, people lying, people maybe not lying, but maybe just in good faith, just forgot a certain thing or didn't understand a question or whatever. Like they're dropping like flies. We're down to like 42, if I'm counting right. Remember, there's 45, and then they got rid of 295. That puts it down to 44. They got rid of 146. That puts it down to 43. 131 on the fence, but the judge says no, that person's staying in. So now they're down to 43. And the judge is like, do y'all just want to wait till Monday? Because what if somebody over the weekend is going to quit being on the jury? This is very interesting because this is why Mark Agnifilo and the feds wanted to push it off, picking the jury, who's going to be on the jury. They wanted to push it off until today. The judge did not want that. The judge said, no, we're not pushing it off. we're doing it today. And they were like, please, please, please. What if people drop out? What if people get cold feet? We need to also do some research, some investigating, make sure everybody didn't lie and make sure everybody answered correctly. We got to do some research. And can we just do it? Can we just do it Friday? Well, that's today. The judge said, yeah, no problem. He even made a special conference and everything. They're all here. They're all here to do exactly this. But as predicted and as suspected, one person did not disclose a question, an answer that they were supposed to on the questionnaire. Did not disclose. They sued the city, which apparently is a for cause strikes. They got rid of that person. And somebody else is now all of a sudden concerned with personal safety. I don't know what that is about. I want to see the email. Can we FOIA that? Can we FOIA request that? And then here's Agnifilo. Yeah, see, Your Honor, just like juror 295 didn't want to be on the case. We already lost a juror in the last 2 days. So yeah, let's do it on Monday. It could be 10 or 15 minutes, Agnifilo says. So bring them in Monday. See if we lose someone. Again, this is not going to take long. It's going to be 10 or 15 minutes because they just go back and forth. It's like Diddy's side gets a turn, Feds gets a turn. Diddy's side gets a turn, Feds gets a turn. Diddy's side get a turn. It's like, picking for the kickball team, except instead of picking somebody on your team, you're kicking people off. You're saying, not that one, not that one. I imagine one of the strikes will be used on the HBO person. One of Diddy's strikes will be used on this HBO person. I thought they were already out. So that was a misunderstanding on my part. Let's see if anything else has been tweeted. Oops. The Feds are saying, hell no. No, we strongly oppose this. So on Wednesday, Agnifilo and the Feds were on the same side and the judge was on a different side. The judge was saying, we need to wrap this up. Let's be done today on Wednesday. Both Feds and Diddy side, no, let's do it Friday. Now today, judge and Diddy side are on the same side and Feds are opposed. They're saying, no, we can't hold off this. We can't hold this off any longer, Your Honor. We strongly oppose. We would be telling 43 people to come back, not knowing. If one said, I want off, others might. I had a trial like that. It blocked the whole morning. What are they saying? The judge said we'd still have to hear them. Assistant U.S. Attorney said, it's different is you're told you're on. It's different if you're told you're on. Okay, I see. I think I'm reading the tea leaves. I think I see what's going on here. I don't exactly know. I mean, I'm just interpreting what you're looking at right there. But what I think is going on here with this, we'd still have to hear them. It's different if you're told you're on. Okay, the assistant U.S. attorney is saying, look, I have done this before, Your Honor. This has happened to me before. I've seen it. And it's where, you let the jury know that just like, you can just be like, oh, just kidding. I don't really want to be on this no more. And then all of a sudden your whole entire first morning of trial is wasted on this stuff. Like, we need to get it done today because once the jurors are told you're on the jury, they're going to show up versus we're telling 43 people to come back like optionally on Monday. Like, we need to start the trial on Monday. What if 15 people decide they now all of a sudden want off the jury? She's saying, no, Your Honor, we really should lock in. We should lock in these jurors today, Your Honor. That's what the assistant U.S. attorney is saying. 34 seconds ago, the judge goes, okay, well, it's tweeted. It's tweeted 34 seconds ago. We got a tweet. The judge goes, they wouldn't be told. They would just, you're in a group of 43, just come in. The assistant U.S. attorney said there's going to be a very long line. Will the jurors be struck? Could they skip the line? Judge said, fair question. Okay, so some of y'all were asking in the chat yesterday or the day before, like, how is it, I don't know, maybe sometime this week, I don't exactly remember the day, but how is it, getting into court? Is it going to be hard? Is it going to be difficult to go? It's going to be difficult to get in? And my answer is I don't know. However, oh, they're already taking a break. This is very interesting, y'all. Woo! Okay, if you're just joining, hi, hello, welcome. The what was supposed to be final day of jury selection in the last 15 minutes has really started, and now they're on a break. And a lot has happened. A lot. I'm getting pulled one way and the other way, up, down, left, right, center, all around. Okay, on this one, because It did sort of like seem too good to be true. They were going to be done selecting the jury today. It did sort of just seem like that's impossible, especially considering if you were here earlier, we talked about the Young Thug trial. That jury selection took 10 months. So this jury selection just started Monday. People have been saying there's no way this is going to be happening in 3 days. Well, in fact, and indeed, it did not happen in 3 days. It wasn't done and completed and finished by Wednesday. However, I still was very impressed because they got it from like over 300 people. I did see Jesse Weber on Law and Crime said it was over 100 people. I think it was actually over 300 people because there's like juror number 300 something. So that would just be something maybe he could keep up with. But you know, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he knows something I don't. These like insiders, you know, and all of that. But what's happened just in the first like 10 or 15 minutes of the hearing today has really flipped it on its head of what we thought and expected to go down. I mean, stuff just goes straight out the window. It was supposed to be the peremptory challenges. This is sort of like where they go back and forth, each side, Diddy side and the government, and they're saying, you know, I don't want this person in, kick them out. I don't want that person in, kick them out. I don't want this person in, kick them out, until they get down to a jury of 12 with the 6 alternates. Okay, so that's what was supposed to go on today. We were supposed to know today, yes, boom, a jury has been selected. Now, one problem that I did suspect could end up coming up, and it's based on, you know, the discussions and arguments here. If you're just coming in, hi, hello, they're on a short break right now, figuring some stuff out, so we're not missing any tweets. But to recap what's happened so far, they come in, the judge is like, do you have anything before the peremptory challenges, which means, of course, by default, for cause challenges. The for cause challenges come up with this juror 295 did not want to be on the jury anymore, apparently, something about personal safety, so she's out. So that's a for cause. She's out. She don't want to be in it, so she's out. Juror 146 sued the city, but did not tell on his questionnaire, so he's out as well. Okay, but then Agnifilo wanted to get rid of another juror. This one is the one who worked at the legal aid, but the judge is like, no, she's still in. But why don't we just bring everybody back in on Monday? We bring in 12 people, we bring in 6 alternates, and then the 3 remaining, or should we do the strikes on Monday? The assistant U.S. attorney is like, we don't want to do strikes on Monday. We want to do it today. There's all kind of reasons why the feds are giving so far, just in the first 15 minutes of this supposed final day of jury selection. The feds are like, no, there's many reasons why we need to do this today. One reason being, I don't want anybody else to get the bright idea that all of a sudden they don't want to be on the jury, because then we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a jury selected. These people are just going to decide it's optional to come in. But if today we say you're on the jury, then they will have more of a sense of a responsibility to come here. Also, the feds are saying in the first 15 minutes of this hearing, the feds are also saying, what about the long line, Your Honor? There's going to be a long line on Monday. And how are the jurors going to get in? If there's this long line, are they going to be able to skip the line to get in? The prospective jurors, you know, this is an issue. The judge said, okay, it's a fair question. Let's take a break. So they're taking a break. And I think that they are, maybe the judge is asking about like the specifics of the courthouse. Maybe he's going into his I don't know. Maybe Matthew Russell Lee will give us some insight. Maybe he's typed something else. No, that's the most recent. Okay, so let me look up like the news and see if there's any like live Diddy news. Okay, here's the Independent. We have looked at this, what would it be called? Source, like this periodical, whatever, before. Oh God, I hate all this crap. Okay. This was allegedly updated 6 minutes ago. So let's see what they've said here. Sean Diddy Combs trial live, jury selection set to be finalized Friday, right? See, this is what the headlines say right now. So if it's not finalized today, it will be really like flying in the face of everything that's been reported. Court narrows down potential jurors from 600 to dozens, with opening statements set for Monday, May 12th. The final round of jury selection is expected to begin shortly in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. The court must seat a panel of 18 New Yorkers, 12 jurors, and 6 alternates before opening statements are set to begin on May 12th. The feds are like, no, Your Honor, we want to come in. We want to walk straight in and say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, okay, we want people all week going to be thinking about, I'm on the jury and I got to go up there and be on the jury. I got to take this seriously. The judge asked for 45 would-be jurors from whom the final panel would be chosen. On Friday morning, that's today, that's right now, lawyers will use peremptory challenges to strike off jurors they do not want at the trial, narrowing that number down. The music mogul is facing a 5-count indictment, arrested in September, FOs, 2 superseding indictments. 2 potential jurors have already been struck. Okay, so we did know this, but let me just read it because it's coming from a different source. Juror 295 apparently sent an email to the jury office concerning her personal safety. She's no longer in the jury pool. Meanwhile, juror 146 has a lawsuit against the city. So that juror is also out, according to Inner City Press. Oh my gosh, the Independent is, he is so cool. The Independent is relying on Inner City Press. They don't even got a reporter in there. They are relying on Inner City Press. Y'all better go support that man if you can. And if you also can, my legal fund is linked down below. Please do support it. I am fighting literal demons. Okay. Juror 295. Okay. Kelly Rissman, that was who wrote it 16 minutes ago. What happens after jury selection? We did talk about this yesterday, but I'll just read it. At least 4 alleged victims are expected to testify against Diddy throughout the course of the trial. Now, it has been reported that the victim 3 is missing. I don't know if that's true, but it was reported. However, this week, prosecutors revealed the woman known as victim 3 may not take the stand as they have been experiencing communications issues with her attorneys. Days before the evidentiary portion of the trial is set to begin, a wrench has been thrown in the works. One of the key witnesses reportedly may not testify. A jury panel is shaping up, but the prosecution's key witnesses, known as victim 3, in the indictment may not take the stand, prosecutors told the judge Wednesday. She's expected to testify as to how Diddy allegedly used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause her and other victims to engage in commercial acts, according to the indictment. I doubt they're off their break, but let me just refresh. The judge was in there for, it felt like 7 minutes. Yeah, okay. So we do have a context. We have 2 new tweets for context from Inner City Press. While Judge Subramanian checks with the jury department, Diddy is in a sweater chatting with his new lawyer, Nicole Westmoreland. Now, she was on the Young Thug trial. Meanwhile, Agnifilo and Maureen Comey talk to each other. Now, Xavier Donaldson is jumping in. Drum roll. Okay. The judge said we can get the 43 in early at 8:30 on Monday and strikes at 9 a.m. Opening statements at 9:30. Inner City Press said, we'll see. The Maureen Comey said, I still object. The judge says, ooh, y'all, breaking news. Victim 5. There is a victim 5 who is requesting to use a pseudonym, requesting to go by, like Jane Doe 5 or whatever, right? Or John Doe 5 or whatever. The judge said, I deny. No, you can't do that. So no, absolutely not. So we have a couple things going on here. The judge is like, all right, look, listen, we can get those 43 prospective jurors in on Monday. I don't know why the judge all of a sudden is very strange, because the judge was the one who was kind of rushing this along on Wednesday. The judge was the one on Wednesday who was like, we need to finish this. And now the prosecutor is like, remember when you said we need to finish this? And the judge is like, nah, we can do it Monday morning. I don't know what happened to change the judge's mind or his opinion or what. He said we can get these 43 jurors. It's kind of aggravating, though, that did they make these jurors show up today? Were there questions that were going to be asked? That's very aggravating. If they made 43 freaking people not go to work, not take care of their, like, all of this stuff just to get in here and say, come back Monday, I would be aggravated. And in fact, and indeed, if that was me, I might not come back Monday. That might actually fulfill the prophecy for me. I'm just telling you about my own psychology and my own human incentives. I would probably be like, F these people. They got me to come. No, bye. No. So if they're worried about people dropping off the jury, I think, unfortunately, on this one, I have to agree with them. I'm going to have to agree with Maureen Comey. She says, I object, Your Honor. No, I don't want that. I don't want to have to deal with that. I still object. Inner City Press doesn't believe it either. That's, you see these little brackets? He puts in brackets his thoughts and his words. So it's like the judge is like, oh, pipe down, Maureen. We can get these people at 8:30 on Monday. We at 9 a.m. as soon as it starts, we can do the peremptory strikes. Agnivolo says it's only going to take 10 or 15 minutes. Here's Matthew Russell Lee. We'll see. Now, the feds are saying, one of these assistant U.S. attorneys has said already, Your Honor, I've done this before. The 43 ain't going to show up on Monday. It's not going to be all of them showing up. They're going to just get cold feet. We need to put a jury in place today. And the judge is like, we'll see. But also, victim 5, no, they can't go by victim 5. They got to use their real name. What else? So many things are happening. That's the most recent tweet right there. Oh man, so many things are happening. So if you're just joining, hi, hello. We are looking at the live tweets from inside the courthouse. Now, this was supposed to be the last day of jury selection. We were supposed to leave this live stream knowing who the jury, well, not knowing who the jury was, but at least somebody will know who the jury is and, have it set in place. And the jury was supposed to have been chosen today. Well, in a seeming about face, the judge Subramanian on the Diddy case, he was the one that was kind of rushing on Wednesday. Like, we need to get it done. We need to have this finished. This needs to be done. Y'all need to be able to spend time doing other trial preparations. And the feds are now, And so now, the judge did allow them to have a couple extra days. Primarily, it seems to allow jurors who might chicken out to do so. That really was what both sides really argued. They were like, Your Honor, people are going to get cold feet. People are not going to show up. We don't want to waste our challenges on people. We're like, oh no, take this person out, keep this person in. And then the person we wanted to keep in is not going to be on the jury anyway because they don't show up or something. So let's weed these people out. Well, the judge, he wasn't really buying that argument on Wednesday. But now all of a sudden today, he's like, yeah, let's push it off even more. Let's keep on not even having a jury selected. This seems out of character for Judge Subramanian, honestly. He doesn't seem like someone that would be doing this type of procrastinating. It's very strange about face he's made. Okay, so they did take a break, but they're back from the break. The judge took the break, and while he was checking with the jury department, Diddy was chit-chatting with Nicole Westmoreland, his new lawyer, and Agnifilo and Maureen Comey were talking, and then Xavier Donaldson, who's the other new lawyer, he jumped in and he's talking. Agnifilo's talking, Maureen Comey's talking. That's the feds. And then Xavier Donaldson jumps in. All the while, here's Diddy chit-chatting with his female lawyer, who appears to be here. I don't know, maybe all the female lawyers are here. He has Teeny Garagos, he has Alexandra Shapiro, and he has now recently joined on to the team Nicole Westmoreland, who is who has worked with Brian Steele in the past. Let's see. Wow. Look at all of these. Oh my gosh. Whoa. Y'all are making it rain. Shout out to y'all. Fellow lawyer here and love your coverage. Thank you so much, Fiona. Love the JD representation in the chat. Thank you for that $4.99 super chat. Wayne, thank you for the $2. Why does Diddy have so many lawyers? I mean, your guess is as good as mine, because once you start adding a certain amount of lawyers, then it's these big personalities and who's in charge, who's the boss. Now, I do know O.J. Simpson did a similar strategy where he had a bunch of different top lawyers, and then he would hear them all. He would have them fighting against each other on trial strategy, and he would have them kind of duke it out first, and then he would bring it forward. Maybe that's possibly what's going on. Now, I do know, Wayne, it was reported that Diddy was angling to specifically hire a black female attorney, obviously who was good, to do like cross-examination stuff because it just the optics doesn't look good to have like a white man like yelling at a black lady on cross-exam. I don't know if that is the case. I did read that in reports, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Welcome to memberships. Brianna, welcome to memberships. I hope justice prevails. Me too. Rando from Iowa, been a member for 19 months. Oh my goodness. Christopher Jones, thank you so much for the $3.99 super sticker. Wow, y'all, I really appreciate all of the super chats, super stickers. Thank you, Mimi, for the $1.99. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary, for the $9.99 super chat. Trying to put Cassie in labor. It's obvious. Wayne said they trying to put Cassie in labor. It's obvious. She is very pregnant. They were circulating pictures of her out on the fire escape or something yesterday. Thank you for the $2 super chat. She looks very pregnant. Thank for that $2 super chat again. Boy, mom, how can juries just not wait? Oh, sorry, excuse me. How can juries just not want to come or show up? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Like, some people just can't take off work for that long. Now, the people who can't take off work for that long, I think they would have already been weeded out. Let's see if anything else has been tweeted. Okay. Yes, it has 3 minutes ago. And thank you again, Boy Mom X3 for the $1.99 super chat. Okay. So the assistant U.S. attorney said victim 1 attended a party with the defendant 2 years before. Okay, so victim 1 we think is Cassie. Speaking of the devil, speaking of the angel, speaking of the pregnant lady, speaking of the U.S. attorney. So I think they are going. So, okay. So I think this means, oh, excuse me. We got 2 new tweets. Woo, can't believe I almost missed this one. So victim 5 cannot use a pseudonym. All right, let's put a pin in for a second the jury selection process. It appears that maybe that's going to continue on Monday, but there's some other stuff going on here that I think is really important. So let's stay on top of everything. I deny pseudonym to victim 5. So there's going to be another victim, a 5th victim. And this person apparently allegedly wanted to use a pseudonym, or at least the feds wanted this person to use a pseudonym. The judge said, no, I deny that. What about the other victim? Now, I don't know who this is, but he didn't say. He just said, what about the other? So maybe he's talking about victim 3. She said, I still don't know. Excuse me, we still don't know, but we'll keep the defense posted. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, what about the other? Your guess is as good as mine. Whatever the other is, the feds are saying, we don't know, but we'll keep y'all posted. We don't know. Judge moves on. A whole nother issue. They're flying, y'all. They're flying. Judge says, what about the exhibit objections? I'm going to check the docket after this. Maybe stuff got filed, because yesterday I was checking all day, and I even checked before I came on live today, but there was no new filing yet that had hit the docket. But I know that they must have filed stuff with the judge to discuss today because he told them to. So they're talking about it now. So apparently they must have. So we'll go check that out after we catch up here. But the judge says, okay, what about these exhibit objections? The assistant U.S. attorney said the photo of Cassie, I think it's Cassie, is not more prejudicial than probative. Then Alexandra Shapiro says it suggests sexual conduct with an underage person. Okay, so they're trying, the feds are trying to use a picture of Cassie from 2003, 2 years before she met Diddy at a party. But Diddy's lawyers are saying, no, you can't use that picture. It makes it look like she's underaged. The feds, the assistant U.S. attorney says, yeah, but Cassie had attended a party with Diddy 2 years before this photo, which was taken on May 19th, 2005. Okay, so okay, wow. Good job then, feds, actually doing something out here. So there's a picture of Cassie, okay? There's a picture of her. I think it's Cassie. They're still calling her victim one. I think it's Cassie. It's a photo of her. It's her in 2007. It's a photo from 2007. Excuse me, hold on. Which was taken onto the, excuse me. I got my years all messed up. It's because of the way they worded this. The photo was taken in 2005. Okay. The photo was taken. That is what we are being told. The assistant U.S. attorney said, I think it's Cassie. Cassie attended a party with Diddy 2 years before the photo. The photo is in 2005. She signed with Diddy's record label. A visual speaks volumes. We are not suggesting she was underage. In 2005, she was of age. I got to give it to the government. I got to give it to them. I agree. What do you freaking mean it suggests she was underage? She's not underage. It was taken in 2005. She was an adult. So get your mind out of the gutter, you freaking weirdo. That's basically what the feds are saying. And I have to take their side on it. Because look, here's Diddy's lawyers. No, the photo, no, it's prejudicial. You can't use a photo of what Cassie looked like 2 years after she met Diddy. You can't. But it's like Diddy met her 2 years before the photo. She was 2 years younger than this when Diddy met her. We're given the photo from 2005. That's the year she signed to his record label. We're not suggesting what Miss Shapiro is trying to say. We didn't say Cassie was underage. The pictures took in 2005. That is what she looked like when she was first victimized allegedly by Diddy. And that is the picture we want to use. So they're arguing over pictures. Let's see if anything else got tweeted. That's the most recent tweet. Thanks so much for the $2 super chat, unnamed and unindicted. There you go. Happy Friday, friends. Happy Friday to you. TGIF, am I right? It is kind of dreary outside. She was 19 years old, they said. And so in 2005, On Vacation said in 2005, Cassie was 19. So that's when she signed with Diddy. That's when the picture was taken. She was of age. What are you talking about? It suggests that she was underage. She was an adult. She was 19. That's an adult. That's of age. What is that? What do you mean suggests? We could put a picture of her when she actually was underage, when Diddy actually met her. That was 17. You want us to do that? Agnifilo and Shapiro, you want us to do that? Because we could do that. We could find a picture from 2003 when she was 17, when that is when she met Diddy for the first time. You want us to do that? No. Can we then use the one from 2 years after she met Diddy, the same year she signed to his label, and she's an adult, without being accused of saying she was a minor? Kadisha Lynn, is it Kadisha? When I'm reading it, I read it in my mind as Kardashian Lynn, but it's not Kardashian. Kadisha or Kadisha? I love her videos. If you're just joining, she covers the Diddy trial. She covers a bunch of stuff. So y'all need to go over there, and she does them short and quick and sweet and to the point. She stays on top of things. She said they just mad because they know, I know the picture because she looks really, really young. So you know the picture. Anna Kane was underage when she SA. That is victim minor number 2, says Foxy Nyla. Okay. I did not know that. Kadisha Lynn, she was actually 18, turning 19. Her birthday wasn't until August. Okay, but still 18 is 18. That is adult. That isn't saying that she was a minor. And I don't think it's implying she was a minor either. I actually do agree with the feds. You should use a picture of the people, of what they looked like at the time, because this is also going to work to Diddy's advantage. He looks decrepit. He's balding. He's got the white hair. He's got the white beard. He's apparently been wearing reading glasses. He's got the sweater vest on with the, borrowing it from, I guess, Leonardo DiCaprio's Wolf of Wall Street wardrobe or whatever. He's wearing the banker boy outfit with the sweater, and then the shirt under it. Like, I guess Agnifilo just tells his clients to wear this type of outfit because that is the same outfit that Luigi Mangione was wearing in court. It's a sweater with a, I just got distracted by a CIA super chat. Sorry. The web you are making connects to the CIA. The CIA are foot soldiers for the deep state. They use P. Diddy as a distraction while they block the sun. Well, you can't distract God's favorite. And that's probably why they have now started to deploy another freaking Astroturf campaign against me, which will also similarly lose. That being said, I am in dire need to raise some funds in the legal fund, y'all. I want to say out loud how much money I still got to pay, and I have to continue paying these legal bills. So y'all, please, thank you so much. Albatross Airwaves for the $5 super chat. Every single little bit counts. Thank you so much. The defense did not say she was underage. They did not. However, I do just want to put it out there. I have no desire to no longer be on this open air prison, even though I don't really care for, living on the open air prison. I wish it was nicer here. I have no desire to no longer be alive. Y'all, there's no more tweets. He just really left us hanging. They're fighting over this picture. I don't know what else has happened. Let's look at the Independent. They have live coverage too. Maybe they tweeted something. Sean Diddy Combs trial live. Okay, let's see. Key points. Look how they are putting on Inner City Press. That is so good. I'm glad they're giving him his flowers. The judge, so 15 minutes ago, they did tweet. Yeah, okay. So this is all stuff we already know. The government strongly opposes starting on Monday with finishing the jury selections. We'd be telling 43 people to come back, not knowing if one said, I want off. It blocked the whole morning. We can get in the 43 early. Okay. Opening statements can begin an hour later, the judge suggested. The government is the Diddy trial and jury selection being televised or live streamed? No. It's expressly banned. I think it's unconstitutional. People are asking this a lot, why aren't these trials televised? And I'll tell you why. This is my opinion. I don't really know. I believe that, especially considering the fact that when you walk into any courthouse in the entire United States of America, there are security cameras. You cannot go into court without being filmed. You cannot. And who gets access to all of those videos? Well, the feds do, the government does, and the public, because it is supposed to be a public record what goes on in court. You can't even go to the freaking store. You can't leave your house without being on somebody's Ring camera these days. But for some reason, the highest profile trials in the world still happen in courtrooms with no cameras and no live stream speakers. And you just got to wonder why. It is unconstitutional, in my opinion, to subject the citizens to a level of surveillance that the judges are not going to be held to, that prosecutors aren't held to. It is absolutely unconstitutional. However, that being said, do you know who would have to decide on this issue? The Supreme Court. And guess who's the court in the United States of America who wants to have cameras in their court? The least of all courts in all of the United States of America. If you guess the Supreme Court, you are right. And so the Supreme Court would have to be the one to decide that it was constitutional or not, this 1946 law. What was going on in 1946 that they put this law in place? Anyway, it is banned. The presence of electronic media is banned by a procedural rule passed in 1946. The Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure bars photographs and broadcasting from the courtroom. Federal criminal trial. This is also the case in federal criminal trial of R. Kelly. The rules governing federal civil procedure are somewhat more flexible, permitting recording in certain situations at the judge's federal civil. Okay, so if it's a civil trial, like people suing people, they give a little bit more discretion. But if it's a criminal trial, which I think arguably the public has much more of a right to see, for some reason we can't see it. And I do think it's because the Supreme Court is allowing this to happen because they don't want cameras in their courts either, which they should be. There should be cameras in all of these courtrooms. I actually think the corruption in this country would plummet. I believe that is one thing we could do in this country that would absolutely annihilate the corruption in this country. If every single courthouse in every single courtroom in the United States of America, I'm talking family court, divorce court, was live streamed, and people like me could just comment on it and show it out to people like you, I think the corruption would plummet Anybody remember Wendy Williams we were talking about a couple weeks ago? Big old hush hush family secret trial going on, but the bank put her in a conservatorship and we can't even, this is preposterous. And I'm never going to stop, ever going to stop complaining about it. Never, never. Okay, let's see if anything else got tweeted. No, this is crazy. What's going on in here? The most recent tweet was 14 minutes ago. His phone died or what? We're still waiting for the next tweet, y'all. I mean, the last thing, if you're just joining us, the last, I don't know. It does make me feel like a little bit like impatient. Because I know in 15 minutes in that courtroom, a lot has happened and we'll just never know. You know what I mean? The last thing they arguing about though, 15 minutes ago was they attended. So they want to use, the feds want to use a certain picture of Cassie, and Diddy and them have said, no, you can't use that picture because it is suggesting that Diddy abused a minor, an underage person. And then the feds were like, are you on? No, it doesn't. She wasn't underage in that picture. And indeed, and in fact, she met Diddy 2 years before this picture. So there's a picture from 2 years after she met Diddy. And indeed, and in fact, she's 19 in the picture. So shut up. That's the last thing that was said 15 minutes ago. Let me pull up the Diddy docket. Thank you so much, Tara. Sweaters don't mean bleep, but aloha, YouTube news. That is so funny. Thank you for the $2 super chats. Who's telling on Diddy? Who's telling on Diddy, Victoria? You can't use the picture because it's accurate. Yeah, I mean, Rachel, that's what that's kind of like where I'm like, all right, I actually agree with the feds on this one. That's so weird. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Blue, wishing you the best. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, transparency. Exactly. Yes, Monica did put in the link to the GoFundMe. Let me look up the docket. Maybe we can get some more information on this picture, because I do think they did file a letter about it. We just maybe didn't see it yet. I do think it comes a little late. I don't think it's like exactly when they file it, it hits the docket. We'll see. When I checked this morning before I went on live, there was no new filings since yesterday on the public docket, but I'm looking it up right now to see if there is. No, there's still not. So let me show y'all. This is the docket. And they're talking about stuff, evidence, excluding evidence. They're talking about stuff that was pictures, this, that, the other. I mean, I assume that had to have been something they sent to the judge, but it is not on the docket yet. What I think will probably happen is a lot of stuff's going to hit all at once. We're going to see a bunch of stuff that was actually filed yesterday before this hearing. Yes, I did know that the prosecutor was James Comey's daughter. I pointed out the moment she joined the team. Victoria's like, well, I wasn't thinking he was doing stuff to minors, but now all of a sudden I'm wondering. You can use that picture. It shows the victim in it. I'm waiting for that excuse. Even for your own documents, they make you pay. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Trust me, take it from me. Can they not wear jackets because they have buttons on them? Well, he's allowed to have shirts. They gave him button-down shirts. Tyrone said, does it look good for him? No, it's hard to tell yet, Tyrone. It's hard to tell yet. And, probably some people would have more insight than I do. Let's see. The most recent tweet over here is 18 minutes ago. We've got to get something else from inside this courtroom. Thank God. The judge is going to allow the picture of Cassie. We got another tweet, y'all. Okay. The judge says, I'm going to allow in that picture of Cassie. Excuse me, of victim one. I think it's Cassie. What about the text messages? I would appreciate some case law. Okay, so more stuff. I don't know what they're talking about because I guess the stuff was filed either under seal or it hasn't hit the docket yet. But there's something about some text messages now. We've moved on. Okay, there was a picture. We were talking about a picture. They went back and forth about the picture of Cassie, or victim one, excuse me, rather. And was she 19? Was she 17? When did they meet? 2005, et cetera, et cetera. The judge said, okay, I've heard enough. I'm going to let it come in. I'm letting the Cassie picture come in, the victim one picture. Moving on. What else? We have some text messages. Can somebody give me some case law to support their arguments? Agnifilo said, I'm not sure of a hearsay exception for them. Bruce. Who's Bruce of Bad Boy, y'all? Breaking news. Breaking news, everybody. Bruce of Bad Boy Records is an employee who is going to testify. The employee testimony, the judge says, the employee testimony will do it on a case-by-case basis. The assistant U.S. attorney goes, okay, what about Bruce? What about Bruce from Bad Boy? Oh, I got to look who is Bruce from Bad Boy. Somebody put it in the chat. I'm refreshing to see if we got any more new tweets. No, we did not. Okay, so I need to keep track of the major things that happened here, but one major thing that happened is maybe the jury selection is going to be pushed off again till Monday. Maybe it's not going to be finalized today. Jury Monday. All my pens are running out of ink. That's aggravating. Okay, and then the victim one / who I think is Cassie picture from 2005. The judge did not want in. I mean, excuse me. Diddy did not want in. The judge allowed it in. Okay, but now we're talking about text messages. Text messages. The judge said, okay, whether or not we're letting the text messages in is going to come down to like what y'all's arguments are. Y'all didn't make good enough arguments. And Mark Agnifilo is like, well, I don't know about any exception to that. So I think Mark Agnifilo is trying to keep it out. That they're trying to keep it in, but then they move on. So it's like the text message issue doesn't seem to get addressed. Now, if it seems like I don't have any idea what I'm talking about, it's because I don't have any extra knowledge besides what the public has. Okay. And I don't know. This stuff has obviously not been mentioned. Or the text message, maybe it has, and I'm just not getting it. I don't know what they're talking about. But then they move on to another issue. Okay, so first thing was jury. Second thing was a picture of victim one, which I think is Cassie. Third thing was text messages, which I think Diddy is calling hearsay. And then the fourth thing has to do with testimony from, quote, employee testimony. And the judge is saying, so instead of saying nobody from employees can speak, or yes, everybody from employees can speak, we're going to take it on a case-by-case basis. And the assistant U.S. attorney is like, all right, what about the case of Bruce from Bad Boy? Okay, an employee named Bruce at Bad Boy is going to be questioned. Breaking news. 44 seconds ago, we get another tweet. They're rolling in now, y'all. We had to wait 18 minutes between tweets a minute ago. I thought I was starving. It felt like I was starving, parched in the desert. Okay. 45 seconds ago, we got another tweet. The assistant U.S. attorney said, the testimony is within the scope of his employment. Difficulties of promoting victim one. Okay, all right. We're getting some insight. We're getting some insight. Diddy's lawyer said there's no indication he was acting under Diddy's authority. The Fed said, Mr. Cruz, it's presumed he was doing this for Bad Boy Records. Okay, objection overruled. Okay, is Bruce the same as Mr. Cruz? Bruce of Bad Boy and Mr. Cruz, is this the same person? I don't know. I have to look it up. But just to explain to you what I'm seeing this tweet mean from inside the courtroom right now at the jury, this was supposed to be for a jury selection and jury peremptory strikes. I think they might be doing them on Monday at 9:00, and then they're going to start opening statements at 9:30. I don't think they're going to actually be able to do that. I do not think that's going to happen. But that's what they're trying to say is going to happen. But they are trying to, it appears that Diddy's lawyers have filed some stuff trying to keep out the testimony of employees of Bad Boy, former employees of Bad Boy. The reason I think that is because of this line right here, the employee testimony. The judge says we're going to do it on a case-by-case basis. So the first case the feds bring up, what about Bruce of Bad Boy? It's within the scope of his employment. And what we are now kind of getting a preview of is they're going to have Bruce from Bad Boy Records come in and testify that he had difficulties promoting victim one, which I think is Cassie. So he's supposed to come in. He's like a government witness. He wants to come in. Diddy's trying to keep him out, keep Bruce out of this. And Bruce seems to be going to be called up to the stand to talk about how it was hard to promote Cassie. Difficulties of promoting victim one. I think it's Cassie. Mark Agnifilo says there is no indication that he was acting under Diddy's authority. Diddy didn't tell him to do that. And then they moved on and then said, Mr. Cruz, it's presumed he was, maybe this Bruce is supposed to be Cruz, because Bruce and Cruz maybe sound alike whenever you're behind the purse. I don't know. If Bruce and Cruz are the same person, different person, typo, I really don't know. But Agnifilo's like, okay, they don't even have proof that he was doing that because Diddy told him to do it. Like, y'all, this is kind of the whole case. This is the whole entire case, is that Diddy would tell people to do stuff and they would do it. A lot of the stuff Diddy didn't do himself. He would tell people to do it. And that's the whole case. And that's what a racketeering conspiracy is. It's like somebody's leading an enterprise and leading members of an enterprise, telling them to do something, and they use extortion and other means. The judge said, whatever, I don't really want to hear it from you, Diddy. It's coming in. We're going to hear from Bruce, Cruz, whoever it is. I don't really exactly know if it's two people or one person. Okay, what else is there? Is Diddy over? What? Wait, is it over? He's saying, okay, now there's a bail hearing before the federal judge. He's in Vermont. Did he just run to another courtroom? Okay, hold on. Let me... I'm confused. Okay, I'm going to the USA Today. Excuse me, the Independent. They have live updates. What the hell? How is he live tweeting two at the same time? That's, I don't know. Okay, so I'm a little bit confused. The last thing here is objection overruled. Is there like I just want to not see this shit. I'm so tired of crypto, y'all. I'll just block him. Okay, so if you see what's going on here, this is the most bizarre hearing I've ever seen in my life. It started an hour ago. It started out by like what the whole point they were here for was just for peremptory strikes. And then if there was anything else, okay. Now it ended up being peremptory strikes got pushed up to Monday again, I think, which was a little bit of an about face for Judge R.N. Subramanian, because on Wednesday, 2 days ago, he was ready to get it done that day. And then the both sides were like, no, let's do it Friday because people might quit, people might drop out, or we might find out some of these people lied. We need to do our research, et cetera, et cetera. Let's do it first thing in the morning on Friday. So they sure enough, they showed up to the court first thing in the morning today. And it doesn't look like they're doing the peremptory strikes. Then it moved on. The feds were like, no, we want to do it today. They got rid of two other jurors, 131, excuse me, no, 295 and 146. Got rid of two jurors. One of them said she was scared for her personal safety. No, I don't need a job search. I do not need a job. I work for the Lord. Okay. Yeah, the juror 295 didn't want to do it. She was scared for her personal safety. Then you had 146 lied, I guess, apparently on the questionnaire. You have to answer a question. Are you in the middle of a lawsuit with anybody? Or you ever sued the city or anything, something like that? This person was in a lawsuit with the city and didn't say it. So that person got kicked out. The feds were like, we don't want to do it Monday. We want to do it today. They took a little bit of a break. The feds were like, no, we need them to come in. What are they going to have to stand in a long line? They're going to have to be worrying about, getting accosted by all these people. The judge said, okay, fine. Let's come in at 8:30. We'll come in at 8:30 in the morning. We will start the peremptory strikes exactly at 9. And then opening statements will be at 9:30. And then Intercity Press is like, yeah, okay, well, we'll see. We'll see if they're able to do that fast. Agnifilo said it's only going to take 10, 15 minutes. I do not believe this. I think it is going to take the entire morning to do the peremptory strikes. I could be wrong. I don't know. Obviously, it didn't happen yet. But I think it's going to be after the lunch break when the opening statements finally start. That is what I believe. Now, previously, it was supposed to be where the jury was supposed to be selected today, seated today. They were going to come in at 9 a.m. sharp on Monday morning. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this case is about an evil mogul or whatever. Okay. So that's not going to happen now. Now it's 9 o'clock in the morning. They still haven't selected a jury. I don't like that. I strongly disagree with the judge's decision there. However, the judge has a lot of information I don't have. And so far he has practiced pretty good judgment and discernment. So I'm going to just give him benefit of the doubt and think maybe he knows something I don't know. But then they start arguing about other stuff. Diddy objected. And Diddy had objected, or Diddy's team had objected to a picture of Cassie coming in, or victim one. I think it's Cassie. And it's from 2005 when she was 19 years old. Diddy said, his lawyer, Alexandra Shapiro, said, no, you can't let that picture come in because it implies and suggests that that Diddy had sexual conduct with an underage person. And the feds are like, she's literally not underage in the photo. So what is wrong with you? They met 2 years before the photo even. So we could put a picture of that if you want. So the judge is letting that picture of, I think it's Cassie, in. Then there were some text messages they wanted in that I think Diddy is saying it's hearsay. Can't come in. The judge had asked the feds to argue what exception to the hearsay rule would allow these texts to come in. I don't think they did. And then they moved on to another piece of evidence, which would be testimony from employees. Now, it seems like there's a few employees. Seems like there's more than one. And because the judge is saying he wants to do it on a case-by-case basis, but it could be one employee that has many things to talk about. So it's like a word by word. I don't know. Again, this has not yet shown up on the docket. It's very confusing. I'm confused. Let me see. Yeah, no, it's nothing new since yesterday filed. Oh God, I hate not knowing. Okay, and then the last tweet we have is from 10 minutes ago. The assistant U.S. attorney was like, yeah, we want this guy Bruce from Bad Boy to testify. And Agnifilo's like, no, what does that have to do with Diddy? He didn't tell him what to do. And the assistant U.S. attorney's like, yeah, he was working for Bad Boy at the time. He was doing it within the scope of his employment. Yes, he was, absolutely. And the judge's like, all right, we'll let it in. We'll let in this particular testimony from that particular guy. But then after that, he just stopped tweeting. I don't know if that means it's over and he didn't tweet the last one. James Cruz, Twain said, well, now we know James Cruz will be taking the stand. That was the CEO of Bad Boy, right? It's interesting because they documented how Cassie didn't necessarily have favoritism in the sense that her music was promoted best as they could, and it just didn't work. If she wasn't his girl, she likely would have got dropped from the label, like any artist in that situation. So I guess this Twain person is trying to imply that Cassie actually received special treatment because she was Diddy's girlfriend. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, James Cruz, is that his name? But then that was like the last tweet. Someone's like, "Are we done for the day?" And then he just starts tweeting another. That was the last tweet right there. Right there. And then he just started tweeting another court case. Right, that's the last tweet. So let me see if the Independent has anything new. It may be over because I don't think they're doing the peremptory strikes today. See, look. A day ago, the Independent was reporting judge waivers on Friday before agreeing to allow the strikes to happen then. Having finished today's jury selection at lunchtime, the judge proposed they did the strikes of jurors today, the peremptory strikes. This was Wednesday this happened. There was concern from the prosecutors that by striking now and then having days for the jurors to get off the case, they may fall below the 18 people that they need for the trial. The judge countered that cold feet are going to happen no matter what. The prosecutor said there may be other work to be done beyond the peremptory challenges and other arguments may be teed up for Friday, and the judge conceded that 9 a.m. Friday was acceptable. But then he didn't even do it today. Show latest update. Yeah. That's it. It's done. Okay. So it is over. Okay. Can you stop? I hate all these stupid pop-ups. It literally drives me insane. Celebrities mention, no, I don't care about that. Arguments over, okay, so now the attorneys are discussing exhibit objections. The defense seems to have objected to a photo of victim one. They say, okay. Opening statement start time is now up in the air. The judge is proposing the challenges. No, he's not proposing they start at 8:30. It's the jurors get there at 8:30. The peremptory strikes start at 9. So Independent got it. I mean, I don't know, maybe Independent and Inner City Press hadn't heard, two different things. But it seems like it's going to start at 9:30. It seems like 8:30, they're going to get there. 9 o'clock, the peremptory strikes, and then 9:30, the opening statements. That is what Inner City Press had said. Updated 30 minutes ago. I think I saw like a thing that had said, thank you for. I think I saw a thing that said, thank you for tuning in. Go away. I think they might be done for the day. Live updated 30 minutes ago. It's very confusing. I like whenever he puts like adjourned. What is going on here, y'all? I'm just trying to figure out, are they done? Because he usually does like adjourned. And I understand why he didn't if he was like rushing to go to another courtroom. Because look, he is literally. It was 15 minutes ago. And then like moments after that tweet, he was in the other courtroom tweeting that trial. Developing story, day 2, jury selection. No, we already did that. Okay, I guess it's over. I'm gonna stick around. Maybe he just like had enough. Let's see. Oh no, not that. Yeah, they ended it outside of the courtroom too. All right. I don't want to miss anything. It does feel a little bit disappointing because I was really expecting the peremptory challenges, like the jury is supposed to be selected and it's still not. Seems like a day wasted, somebody said. Katina. I mean, you think he didn't know he'd be the fall guy if anything went left? I say good. He liked being at the top of his own pyramid, but ain't the figure. That's the biggest fish, duh. I totally agree. Exactly verbatim. Nothing further. 8th house, moon rabbit, your honor, period. Like, He is obviously the fall guy for a very large network of this type of activity, if you ask me, in my opinion. Okay. It is just so obvious. And in my mind, I can't even erase the image of Clive Davis, Leor Cohen, and the rest of the demons sitting around a table laughing and cackling with their dentures and veneers about Diddy. Like they're laughing and cackling that nothing is ever going to happen to them. That's in my mind. In my mind, it's an image. It's a hallucination. Some might even say, but it's inside my mind, so it's a thought. It's an imagination. Um, Claudia said, "I wonder." Love you, mean it. Claudia said, "I wonder why jury wasn't selected today." I do too. But I think it's possible that the reason is because the judge does see that maybe Diddy and the feds did both have a good point, that people are going to kind of like fall off and drop off. Cruz is a manager, someone said. But what about Bruce? Anybody know Bruce? Yanni said it's a tip of the iceberg. Lady Solidarity said, I see it too. So we have a collective mass hallucination. Even if he's the fall guy, somebody said, Plotter said, he refused to speak on it and refused the Fed's deal. But we don't know what that deal was. The deal might have been life in prison or something. I don't know. Who saw this coming before the indictment hit? That Diddy was going to be the fall guy? Not me. Not me, because you want to know what? I thought Diddy was never, ever going to get in trouble. I thought he was safe and sound. I never expected him to get in trouble. I never expected him to even have to sit in the jail awaiting trial. Never. I thought he was getting out. I was wrong. Thank you so much, Fan Fiction, for the $4.99 super chat. They need to cross-reference the Diddy FO guest lists with the Epstein flight law. I agree. I sure do agree. Wayne, I agree with this one. Thanks so much again, Fan Fiction, for the $4.99 super chat. Wayne said Diddy is just a worm compared to real big fishes out there. It's so true. It's so true. Is Lou Taylor going to take the stand? I mean, that's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Watch him say she's a victim. Watch her come up on the stand as victim 5. We also be covering the Lil Durk trial. I don't think so. Boo baby boo. When is it? If it's like after the Diddy trial, maybe. But right now I'm pretty much Diddy trial land central over here. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Appreciate that. Faye Fane, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. They're using the pic to show the toll. Oh, wow. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Fafane said they are using that pic to show the toll that 2 years with Diddy took on her. That is interesting. I am looking forward to seeing how they're going to use that. Steelers Princess, shout out to you. James Cruz, member for 4 months. James Cruz, president of Bad Boy Entertainment and longtime manager of Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. Wait, his manager or a manager who worked for Bad Boy and managed artists? Diddy had a manager? That wasn't Lou Taylor? That's surprising. Thank you, Tara, for the $2 super chat. Real trial pic of Diddy by my birthday, May 16th. I don't know what you mean, girl. Thank you for the $2 super chat, though. I really, really appreciate that. He's working on so many trials. The man on Twitter working on 2 trials at the same time. No, it's like a lot. It's like, I don't even know how many, probably like dozens. He has so many. He follows so many. He follows the Alexander brothers. He follows Diddy. He follows Harvey Weinstein. He was in that one the first day. He follows Luigi Mangione. He's in there for the Eric, I think that one's now dismissed, but Eric Adams, he was following. Oh, new tweets. Okay, I heard there was new tweets. Okay, let's go. Someone said new tweets. I don't know if there is or not. I'm just going to see. Oh my God. He is tweeting 2 trials at the same time. 2 hearings. Okay. Okay, wow. Okay, y'all, it's not over. They still got stuff coming. Oh my God. New tweet. I got it. I'm here. Terrell said, no, the new the picture is to portray her as being groomed. So they're going to show 2 years before when she actually met him. And then 2 years later, she has been, yassified and all of that. But we do have more tweets. Let me read these. 4 minutes ago. So remember, 21 minutes ago is the most recent tweet. There's no indication he was acting under Sean Combs' authority. Judge says, no, we're letting in, this is breaking news, 20 minutes ago, we're letting in the James Cruz testimony is going to testify about how it was difficult to promote Cassie. Now, 4 minutes ago, the prosecution said on victim one, they have agreed not to cross-examine about certain medical issues. The judge says on the rest, I'll have to hear the direct to see if the door is opened. The judge says, so if the situation is that if the government opens the door, you can walk through it. So the situation, okay, all right, got it. On victim one, Cassie, the feds are saying, Johnson, Assistant U.S. Attorney Johnson is saying, Your Honor, on Cassie, as it relates and pertains to Cassie, Diddy and them have agreed not to cross-examine her about certain medical issues. The judge said, okay, fine. On the rest, I'm going to have to hear what the court opened up the door for, right? This legal open up the door. That's the only way I'm going to be able to decide on the rest. On the rest of what, you might be wondering. Good question. It's all redacted. We don't know. So the judge is telling to Diddy's lawyers. So the situation is if the government opens the door, then you can walk through it. I don't know what they're talking about. It literally is on purpose redacted from us so that we don't know. So that is why I don't know. And that is why we don't know. But Agnifilo says, no, Your Honor, not no open the door. No, this is directly relevant and we should be able to ask about it. We are going to take the position that there was mutual violence. Breaking news. They are going to paint Cassie Ventura pregnant, 15 months pregnant. They're going to paint her as if she was a domestic violence abuser. Okay, that is what we are just hearing moments ago from Agnifilo. Agnifilo, he said, this is breaking news, y'all. I can't believe we're getting this from inside the courtroom. This is so cool. Oh my God, 2 more tweets. So he must be back in this courtroom now. Okay, so Agnifilo says, we're absolutely going to admit to DV. Okay, breaking news. Diddy's lawyers are saying Diddy will admit to being a DV, a domestic V abuser. But at what point does it become, quote, coercive, Agnifilo said. The judge is like, you're arguing they were just violent? Agnifilo, right. And we're saying it's relevant. The judge says, feds, any last words? Oh, okay. So, all right. There appears to be a number of things that Diddy and his lawyers have been trying to bring in about Cassie, and a number of things that they have been trying to keep out about Cassie. Now, the government did not want Diddy to cross-examine Cassie about a certain medical issue, okay? But then there were some more things. There was some more evidence that they were arguing over keeping in, letting out. Feds want to keep some in, keep some out. Diddy wants to keep some in, keep some out. What is the evidence? We don't know. All I can do is read these tea leaves. I mean, hopefully it's going to all come up at trial. We're going to be able to see it. But there was one issue they at least agreed upon, and that was they're not going to cross-examine Cassie about certain medical issues. But that being said, the judge is like, I'm going to have to hear what y'all say. I can't really make a decision today. I need to hear the specifics on the day of trial whenever she's actually speaking. That's how I'm going to know whether or not the stuff can come in or out, the testimony about certain things. You may be familiar with this if any of y'all followed that Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. There was something about a previous incident with Kate Moss and Johnny Depp. And Johnny Depp had fought very, very hard to keep it out or leave it in. There was some fighting and it was going to be maybe kept out. But then Amber Heard brought up Kate Moss. And when she brought it up, that was the opening the door. So then it could be brought up. So this is a separate issue, a separate case and all of that. But that being said, oh, this is crazy. They are saying there's some things going to stay in, some things going to stay out. And the judge said, I'm going to have to go case by case on that too. Agnifilo said, but it's relevant, Your Honor. We should be able to bring this particular issue up because our defense is that these two were beating the hell out of each other. They were a just violent, toxic couple. And maybe maybe the certain medical issue was like maybe a addiction or something. I anticipate that addiction, substance use, substance dependence, specifically addiction, not just I like to take substances to party, but specifically addiction, I think is going to be a central theme of this trial. It hasn't come up that much before, but I do think it's going to come up. That's why I'm like, what are these certain medical issues? What is that? I don't know. I don't have no idea. But the judge is saying, okay, 10 seconds ago, we got another tweet. Now, if you'll remember, Agnifilo is saying whatever this particular stuff is they're talking about, they want to bring it forward to the jury. Something about Cassie. Agnifilo is saying it's relevant because we're going to say that Cassie and Diddy were beating each other up. That's one of our defenses, is that, yes, they were in a violent relationship and they were violent. They were beating each other, but Cassie did it back at him. They were both beating each other. Now, I mean, that CNN footage really doesn't help because it shows that even if Cassie, you shouldn't be hitting people. Listen, don't take this as I am saying, oh, Cassie can't hurt Diddy. You can hurt somebody if you pick something up and hit them with it. But that being said, it is very clear whenever Diddy goes and flies into a rage, he can do way more damage to Cassie. I'm not talking about a man and a woman. I'm talking about the specific two people because you saw him going down that hall like a puma. Cassie didn't stand a freaking chance against him when she was getting pulled and ripped and kicked and all of that stuff and snatched up by the ponytail and all of that. If she would have tried to fight him, she would have not stood a chance. So to me, in that particular relationship, y'all, there's sometimes the woman is more stronger, bigger, and badder than a man. I'm not trying to even say it's a gender. I'm saying I saw a video of these two people in a physical altercation. And Diddy is absolutely more powerful than that person, in particular, specific that person. So I'm not really exactly sure how far this is going to get them, but I guess you got to throw the whole, everything at the wall to see what sticks. We got another tweet here. The feds are saying, no, we want to keep it out. So we're going to submit some arguments on this. And then Inner City Press said, and I will report on it unless it's under seal. Like what they're talking about right now. Now the judge says, anything else? The assistant U.S. attorney said, we intend to offer 2 cell phone videos and the corrected CNN footage. Okay, so wait, I thought the CNN footage, they said they weren't going to offer it. They said they weren't offering the CNN footage. This is a big surprise. This is a big surprise. They said they weren't going to offer the CNN footage. They said they had other footage to offer now, which was cell phone footage, surveillance, camera footage, spliced together, slowed down to the right speed, frame rate matched, and all that. And they even said, like, we no longer intend to even present the CNN footage, I thought. So that's interesting. The situation is that the government opens the door, you can walk through it. Okay, so there's some piece of information having to do with victim 1, who I think is Cassie. Something to do with not the medical issues, because see, it says on victim 1, they've agreed not to cross-examine her about certain medical issues. But the judge goes, but on the rest of the stuff they want to keep out about victim 1, which is, I think, Cassie, the judge says, I'll have to hear the direct to see if the direct examination, which means what the feds bring up. What the feds bring up first. Because if y'all open the door to some of this stuff, I might have to let it in. Just going to depend. But then Agnivilo's no, I don't want it to depend. It needs to come in. This is directly relevant because we're going to argue that they were hitting on each other. And we're going to admit that Diddy was violent. But at what point does violence become coercion? So it's like, yeah, too bad, so freaking sad. Y'all should have got him for assault and battery years ago. Too late. Can't get him now. Wasn't coercive, I could tell you that. That's what Agnifilo is trying to kind of like argue. And then the feds are like, okay, don't make a decision today, Your Honor. Right now in this hearing, we're going to send you a letter and argue it on the papers. Okay. The judge said, anything else? The feds said, yes, we are going to offer 2 cell phone videos and the corrected CNN footage. That's the last thing that we get on the tweets. Meeting adjourned, or whatever, hearing adjourned, conference adjourned. See you Monday. Yes, and any filings before. Whoo! Okay. Y'all go. I'm gonna put this link to this tweet right here in the chat so y'all can follow him and support Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press. So, okay, I feel a lot more closure. Who is Nicole Harris? That's a good question. Sounds familiar. Who is Nicole Harris? Back Alley Scam Chat said the little girl beat me up is not a very good defense against racketeering. I agree. Trial starts Monday. Yes, Angela. Trial starts Monday. That's what they're still trying to tell us. Now, what was supposed to happen? The trial, they were supposed to walk in Monday morning. Jury was supposed to be already sat. And then they were supposed to say, you know, feds were supposed to walk up. Probably Maureen Comey. She was supposed to say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is a case about coercion. This is a case about a man with too much power. This is a case about abuse or whatever, right? Whatever she was going to get up and say, but that's not happening now. Now what's going to happen is that they're going to get there. The jury's going to get there at 8:30. Now, if there's a long line, they're going to be able to skip it. The jury hasn't been selected yet, but there is a pool of people, about 43 people who 18 of them are going to end up being the jury plus 6 alternates. So 12 will be jury, 6 will be alternates. So 18 of those 43 people are going to be the ones that have to sit every day in court and listen. I do anticipate some of the jury will be replaced with the alternates. I do anticipate some of these alternates are going to get used. Some shenanigans, some tomfoolery is going to come out. That's what I think. Halfway through the trial, we're going to learn one of the jurors is first cousins with Diddy. I don't know. Something crazy is going to happen. The UN guy is going to pop out of the bushes. So now what's going to happen is they're going to get there early on Monday. The jurors, the 43 prospective jurors are supposed to be there on Monday morning. And they're going to come in, they're going to be sat for 8:30, or they're going to be, you know, waiting for 8:30. Some of those people are going to show up, not knowing if they're on the jury. All of those people are going to show up, not knowing if they're on the jury or not. And they're just going to get told Monday whether they're on the jury or not. So I think maybe it's possible. I just keep racking my brain as to why it would be that Judge Subramanian might have switched course so fast. And it could be because they are scared some people are going to drop out of the jury. And it's like, once you're there on Monday morning, it's like, you jury, you can't change your mind. You're on the jury. You can't leave. Like, you're done. So maybe it's that. It's like, because if you think about it today, if the people would have been leaving right now, let's say the people would be leaving right now, the 12 jurors and the 6 alternates, they would all know exactly who those jurors are. Perhaps somebody could tamper. Either side could tamper, could say, no, you don't show up. It could throw the whole thing off. But if like 40 people show up on Monday, no matter what, even if 32 people show up, even if 20 people show up, probably be kind of tough with the 20 people, because then that would not allow for Diddy to do enough peremptory strikes. We might have a problem. If not enough people show up, I'm not exactly sure how the trial is going to go forward. That's crazy. This case stinks to high heaven. Beats would be implicated. Wait, Beats LLC would be implicated if they sponsored a party on the same night as a FO. I don't think so necessarily. There has to be some level of knowledge. So what's going to happen Monday? Okay, so let's cross our fingers and hope enough people in the jury show up to do the peremptory strikes, and then they're going to sit them. I want to do a disclaimer. I do not think this is actually going to happen at this pace. I'm just telling you what they're trying to represent to us right now. Okay. And so one of the things that they are trying to say is going to happen. They're going to get the jury in by 8:30, and at exactly 9:00 sharp a.m., which these people never start at exactly 9:00 sharp. It has never happened one time ever in the history of me following this case. Never has it exactly 9:00 started. Usually Subramanian is rolling in at 9:11, 9:17, 9:26, like whenever he feels like, which is understandable because he's probably reading a lot of crap. These people wait till the last second to file it. And so he rolls in late, but they're saying it goes somehow miraculously for the first time in the history of this trial, miraculously, they are going to start exactly at 9 sharp. And it's only going to take 10 or 15 minutes to do okay, I strike this juror. No, and then we strike this one. You strike this one. You strike this. 10, 15 minutes going to be done. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Jury's going to sit in their box. And then by 9:30, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is a case about Do you believe Harvey? When he made a comment, he knows for a fact the prosecution doesn't have any videos. My thing is, how would he know that? That's a good question, Nellie Love. The prosecution has no videos. Maybe they weren't able to get on those servers. I mean, I don't know how he would know that for a fact. This is where it becomes interesting because the feds have, if that's true, if it's true that they have no videos at all whatsoever, then they've lied to the judge because they've told the judge before that they want to keep the FO video evidence from the public. So how would he know that? Cindy said Garagos. Court dramatization. I know I have to do it because we can't see inside there. Like one day in my life, I'm going to actually be interested in a trial, which is being televised. And it's going to be the day my channel finally busts loose. It's going to be the day my channel finally gets subscribers out the, you know what? YouTuber Rotten Mango has been in attendance in the courtroom every day this week. She says she will give daily updates starting Monday. Oh, thank you, Brittany, name twin, for the $5 super chat and also for the information. Rotten Mango, and also always forget Infamous. I always want to call her Notorious. Infamous Sylvia said that she actually got her press credentials for this, so she's going to be up there too. So we have Rotten Mango going to be doing it. I did notice that there is an Astroturf plant. I'm not going to say the name. But there is an Astroturf plant covering the Diddy trial. And this person almost tricked me into thinking they were like a real reporter. But then all of a sudden I'm looking on this person's page and they have a mysteriously almost no subscribers, but like really big names in media interviewing on their channel. And then I start thinking like, wait, where does this person get all this time? Where's this who's putting this person on? And then recently this person went on an interview with a really big channel that's actually astroturfed against me before. And so I'm not going to be able to cover that person, okay? Unfortunately, because it is an AstroTurf campaign, it's AstroTurf account, okay, in my opinion. So again, I'm not saying anybody's name. No, not Sloan. I like Sloan. He's covering Diddy? Like that? Y'all talking about Shannon Sharp? I love Stephanie Rotten Mango. I don't know if I heard of her before. It sounds familiar. Okay, he knows it for a fact, JL said, because there's other parties that are participating in this case. It's all a bluff? If it is, then that would be upsetting and not surprising, truly. Be aware of scammers, back alley scam chats said. Cindy, I'll never watch TMZ again. I mean, unfortunately, people tell TMZ exclusive news, so sometimes the only place you can get it. That sucks. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, if y'all don't like people's channels, don't watch them. Like, I don't know if y'all know or not, like, people don't work for you. I used to love TMZ. Thank you for opening my eyes. It's crystal clear now. Ashley said, she does true crime, but she's already made a couple YouTube shorts talking about jury selection. That's awesome. That is awesome. April, this is a good question. What does AstroTurf mean? AstroTurf is a phenomenon that's been going on for truly centuries, but the terminology AstroTurf was just started in like the late 80s, early 90s, and it is a term that describes the phenomenon by which, or the technique, I should say, the technique by which powerful interests, including lobbyists, lobbying groups, and huge corporations and industries like the tobacco industry or the what was the other one? Tobacco and something else, like two big ones. They would hire lobbying firms, and then the lobbying firms would be lobbying to the government to change laws on the behalf of these people. But at the same time, the lobbying firms would then hire PR firms. This is like the 80s, 90s. This happened a lot with Philip Morris and whatever with cigarettes and all of that. They were lobbyists that hired PR firms. This also happened with the McDonald's hot coffee. Y'all remember the lady that spilled the hot coffee on her lap and everybody was like, what a stupid idiot. That dumb moron doesn't know that coffee's hot. And then she sued McDonald's. Poor innocent McDonald's. Poor innocent McDonald's. She sued them for $10 billion or whatever. And that stupid freaking moron didn't know coffee was hot. Well, guess what? That was all AstroTurf. Because indeed and in fact, there were more very critical factors that were left out of the public reporting, dragging this poor woman through the dirt and mud, including the water was so hot that it was like 100 degrees hotter than the industry standard, what was allowed. Okay, first of all. Second of all, the water was so hot that it had actually indeed and in fact given really bad burns to people. This is the water they use for the coffee, the water they use for the other stuff. It was so hot that other people had been burned and they had to pay out settlements before. They had gotten warnings before. And this woman was like 75 years. She was old. And within 3 seconds, she had third-degree burns, which means that it burned through the top 2 layers of her skin down on her downstairs. She's very old. You know, old people have paper-thin skin. They were already on notice, and she only sued them for the amount of money that it was going to cost to do her surgeries. She didn't even sue for like pain, suffering, and all of that. She sued for the actual amount of money it cost. So if you're upset that it costs so much money to get a surgery as an old lady, on this old lady, y'all need to be mad at the hospital. But everybody took it out on this lady, and it was in part because of this AstroTurf campaign. They had hired lobbyist groups. They had hired PR companies to put out what it looked like news. It was people making fun of her, people laughing at jokes. They put it on Saturday Night Live. And so it just appeared that there was like a societal consensus that this woman was a stupid idiot moron. And it made it seem like anybody who was suing any big company then was a stupid idiot moron that was just money grabbing. Okay, so this is an example of an AstroTurf campaign. So anytime there's a really big story, you're going to get this AstroTurf. I personally have been a victim of this type of thing, where what AstroTurfing is today, it's called digital AstroTurfing, is where they use social media accounts, oftentimes bot looking accounts with AI generated pictures, people who don't use their real name, people who you don't know who they even are. Sometimes they're literally actually just algorithm bots, like robot. They're not humans, and they'll seed a false narrative. This is what the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively lawsuit is coming down to, this AstroTurfing. Yeah, and this was years ago. It was hotter. It was hotter. It was even hotter then. Yes, exactly. Gosh dang said, isn't part of AstroTurfing is that it is meant to look like a grassroots or from the people movement? Yes, that is exactly what I am saying. They hired these PR firms to put out news so that, remember when I just now said the thing about consensus? It appears as though there's a societal consensus. It appears that society is all in agreement. Everybody agrees. We all think it. We all think that already. But really, if people would have been presented the facts in a fair way, it wouldn't have reached that consensus. They actually organically, legitimately can change people's minds by making it appear that there's a societal consensus, whenever in fact and indeed those early voices were plants, fake plants. And this has happened to me before. It's continuing to happen. It's continuing to happen to me. Now they've moved on to trying to steal my trademarks and defamation, but please do donate to the legal fund down below. It's very difficult to fight all of these demon-possessed freaks. Thanks so much, Tara, for the $2 super chat. Thanks so much, Luna Ray, for the $9.99 super chat. Been watching since Brittany just joined. You're awesome. Keep it up. I'll support however I can. Thank you so much, Luna Ray. I really appreciate it, y'all. Every single penny counts and helps, truly. And I got to pay these lawyers. I just got to. It's getting serious out here. Thank you, Brittany, for the $5 super chat. Have you seen the YouTuber Rotten Mango has been in attendance in the courtroom every day? No, I didn't, but now, you told me. Said she'll be making daily updates. Thanks so much. She has been in attendance. Thank you so much again, Rotten Mango, for the $5 super chat. Been in attendance in the courtroom every day. She said she will give daily updates. That's awesome. I'm gonna start going over there. And if I don't go over there, and if I forget one day or whatever, y'all can go check her out, because that's something interesting to know that she's over there doing that. Because people go against their better judgment to blend in with the crowd. It's the truth. I won't. But people do. What would you do showed us before and without high tech. Yep. And y'all know what I would do whenever a depraved lunatic shows up to my law firm trying to hire it to make me shut up about them. Y'all already know what I do. Whenever somebody acts like they're going to try to hold my legal license against me, you already know what I do. I'm like a little lizard. I'll shed that tail. Bye. My kid saw me watching you. So I gave her a rundown of Britney history and how you speak up against injustice. She says it's like these people are villains and you're some kind of superhero. She knows. Yes, Slay Brooke. Love her. Love that kid. I think you'd like her. Probably. I'm going to check her out. More to scare her from continuing litigation. Who? Oh, yeah, that lady probably. Yeah. No, it was definitely to make other people not sue. Make it seem like anybody who sues McDonald's or a big corporation is money grabbing. And y'all, this is powerful astroturfing technique because it still works. That's what they said about Cassie. Remember that? Money grab when she first sued. This is exactly what the prosecution is doing. It's so obvious. Yeah, some people say the prosecution is doing this for Diddy's case. And at first I was like, shut up. No. But think about the people that they could be protecting by allowing Diddy to go down. Maybe some of their powerful friends. I mean, Maureen Comey is James Comey's daughter. Like, there's the most connected people. But yeah, so they will so now there's a new thing that they do, okay, for astroturfing is they will put in actors, essentially, actors to pretend to be independent YouTubers or to pretend to be independent activists or independent journalists, but really they're actors. They are actors playing a role. They have Screen Actors Guild credentials a lot of times. They have IMBD profiles a lot of times. And so they will put them in and it'll appear what you'll think you'll watch. You think you are watching somebody cover. You think you're watching somebody like me sitting in their house, just covering something, saying what they want to say. But really what they're doing is they're pushing somebody's agenda. And they don't care what it is because they're just an actor. And in their mind, they're not doing anything immoral because they're playing a role. They're acting. Okay. And so these are often these types of YouTubers, these LARPers, these actors are pretending to care about an issue or to, you know, they'll focus on a certain issue. And sometimes I think the actors actually end up caring about it because they just spend so much time on it. But they're doing it because they have a boss, they have a daddy, they have a boss telling them what to do, telling them what to say. And so it's many reasons you might have somebody doing this. One reason could be to get your version of the message out on, for example, like, I don't know, like Nancy Grace or something like that, like get your version of the message out. I mean, Nancy Grace is a great example of this. She appears to be like, kind of like me, like a YouTuber, like she's just on YouTube. No, the woman is backed by a network. She just has a YouTube channel that the network put out. You know what I mean? Like, these people are actors. You think Nancy Grace sits there and reads through the Diddy files? No, someone hands her a script, in my opinion. I don't think she's sitting here doing this all day. I do not, in my opinion. I don't know. I have no way to know for sure about Nancy, specifically Grace. However, yeah, drunken. Lord bless her, Jesus. Amen. Period. Eighth house Moon Rabbit said a lot of actors have a very weak sense of personal identity. You are so right. I did make a video about this. Ariana Grande. Chris Jean-Baptiste. Oh, I know you from Louisiana. You my cousin. Jean-Baptiste, you from Louisiana? Your daddy's from Louisiana? Your mom's from Louisiana? Said Shine was the fall guy for Diddy. Diddy will be the fall guy for the billionaire network ring. I think it's true. Chris Jean-Baptiste. I got to say the name. Baptiste. Oh, I love that. They had a lot of Cajun, Creole, Cajun, Louisiana names, Cajun French names in my chat last few days. But so these AstroTurf accounts sometimes do something called movement infiltration, where they kind of like pretending to be like independent, but really they're like in here to like make friends with the people who are really running a certain movement or a certain narrative online, which maybe is actually organic. And then they will try to pretend like they are the leader. They will try to maybe even ingratiate themselves into the movement, pretend like they're friends, help you out just to get into your business, to compromise you. I mean, I have a book. I literally do have a book coming out on this, and it's going to be a paper book that nobody can take off the freaking internet. Clive Davis doesn't even know who he is, they said. Who's NG? Yeah, no doubt. I mean, listen, I on these videos on this channel, no production team, it's me. Sometimes I might get a little help from one person. Creepy stalkers, somebody said. Yeah, seriously. Isn't Gerardo's FO insider and personal who? I don't know who Gerardo is. Avatar said that's a great idea about the physical book. Ain't nobody gonna be able to delete a page out of my book. No, it'll probably be online too or whatever, but it's gonna be paper book. Yes, thank you. Yes, someone artificially creates a grassroots movement. Yeah, an artificial grassroots movement that then eventually has the purpose and the goal, and it's successful if it actually affects the real public consensus. Consensus is this elusive term of like, oh, like at least most people think, fill in the blank, right? And you really want to reach the societal consensus or the in-group consensus, like everybody that listens to whatever, Drake. We need 51% of those people thinking that he's a certified PDF. Okay. So, however, we got to do that. If we got to put Kendrick Lamar's song, whenever you say, hey, hey, SIRI, play Lover Boy by Drake, but then they coming out with the certified PDF. All of these things are small ways to influence the public to think a certain thing about a certain thing. I don't know if that was astroturfing or not. That is the allegation that Drake is making, so that's why I use it as an example, but I don't really know for sure. Court of public opinion. Exactly. You don't have to convince everybody. You just have to get a quote consensus. I do have a video about this coming out on BJ Investigates. Yeah, that's all I really had for this one. I'm going to go I'm going to go look into some other stuff. I'm going to go see if anything else was filed, see if there's any other videos that I need to make. If you found this enjoyable, interesting, entertaining, please do donate to the legal fund is linked down below. I could use all the help I could get. Thank you very much. And I will, I know Pocahontas said, please. Thank you. I appreciate you for spelling it out. Yes, I know, because if I say it, then all y'all's devices are going to start doing it, and then mine might. I don't like that. That's all I really had for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation, and neither are opinions. Last time I checked, you can still say your opinion in the United States of America. Love you, Minnie K. Bye.